Yay! What up? What up?
Oh,
So, okay, here we go. Like I said, I know we're into the playoffs right now, so I apologize. If you're are you a fan?
oh, you talking about the NBA?
Well, no, the NFL playoff games today. Are you a fan?
Yeah, I like the Panthers. You know what? I was always the guy drawing pictures. I was on the school like sports teams, but I just did it just for the fun, camaraderie. I never really kind of got into following sports, but I
Right.
like a good game with some people,
I feel
some
you.
friends. I saw that Chiefs game last Sunday.
Th-
Like it was like at the last second. Whoo,
That
against
was
the Bills.
that
That
was
was a
crazy,
good game.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that was a good game. Yep, yep.
I feel like usually, I don't know, some of those NFL games are like a wash, but yeah, here recently they're getting a little juiced up. Okay,
Yeah.
so welcome to the Katie Black Show. I do this sometimes. I don't know how my guests feel about it, but I feel like it's kind of powerful when the guests introduce themselves. So
Oh,
do you wanna go ahead and introduce yourself?
yes, I will. I am the folk rap genius, Mr. Weird Awesome, Mr. Blunt Man, no bowl of joints, Sergeant, Sergeant Dirty Bongwater. Uh, hey man, it's Nige Hood. I'm Nige Hood. I'm a musician, performer, entertainer, uh, rapper, lover.
You do it all. You do it all.
And yes.
So, well, before we get into Charlotte and the whole meat and potatoes, our connection is you happened to come to my first live show at Rhino Market at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what was that like from an audience member's point of view?
Oh, it was great. Like I came in and it was right before you finished interviewing somebody like right before Dipstick,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And Dipstick, I remember them being very funny and very like punk rock in their interview style. And
Yes.
I remember it just being a good group of people there. Um, I swore you had a sidekick on the couch over there making jokes. That guy
Mr.
was there too.
Joe. Mr.
Mr.
Joe.
Joe. I hope Mr. Joe's going to be at the show on the 3rd. That would be great.
I need to circle back around him. I think that was just divine vibes. I kind of had met him previously. Um, and yeah, he was part of the show for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So first off, I always ask people this: where were you born slash where'd you grow up?
Oh, well, you know what? I was born in Charlotte, and you were born in Charlotte too? What?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so that's amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
Providence.
Why you do that? I went to Vance. It was cool. It
Did
was
you like
cool.
it?
Yeah, I liked it. I was involved. I was rapping back then, so I put out my first mixtape my senior year, and there was a cool little rapping scene. There's a few rappers doing pretty well. That went to Vance, like the baby, he went to Vance, and there's another rapper named Jamonte. I'm actually gonna be performing with him on in February at the Milestone, but he went to Vance too, and he's doing his thing.
Wow. Yes, a lot of talent. No, I guess I just make that face when I say Providence just because I think it's a combination of when I tell people that and I don't know, I just get weird like I don't know. I think it has a reputation. And then also too, I guess I wasn't really a fan.
Of Providence.
But then it's also then I psychoanalyze, is it just like, hey Katie, high school isn't great for everyone no matter where you'd go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I feel like real talk, because I actually had a pretty healthy social whatever life in high school, but I never wanted to go back ever. I never wanted to really. I mean, maybe the first or second years after school, you want to hang out with some people but even with that, and I think part of that is because when you're in high school, like you're not who you're going to end up being. You're not the same person you're going to end up being. And a lot of the people who stay the same person that they were in high school, yeah, those are probably the people that want to go back and visit and stuff. But we passed that, baby.
That's right.
Progression, you know what I'm saying? We passed that. So,
No, I
yeah.
agree. When I think too, if you are the same person that you were in high school, then you need to go on a self journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? You need to
Preferably through Europe with a backpack or something like that.
ask, like, what do you think of all the growth now? Like, what do you think about it? Especially since, you're a unicorn like myself.
Well, it's kind of weird. It's like, so I went to school and came back in 2013. So I was gone during a strong kind of like whatever time. And then I guess it kind of like really kicked into gear to, I mean, 2015. Honestly, I'm saying all this to say it's one of those things that you kind of notice is happening because people say it. And then you look around, you're like, oh, okay. And then like a few years later, just like the hill gets larger. You're like, oh, that's a hill. Oh, it's a little bit bigger. Oh, like, oh shit, like everybody here somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean? And then but I mean, I like it. It's cool. Like, I guess I never really, I don't know, even though I've lived in Charlotte for so long, I guess I never really felt much ownership or that it was much of my identity. There was a time like when I was a freshman in college, and you wanted to rep where you're from or kind of maybe I made that my identity then, but like I've just kind of always been just into what I'm into. So it's like Charlotte is just a part of the whole world that I'm gonna travel. You know what I mean? So Charlotte can change as it changes because I never really had much of a emotional uh
Attachment.
attachment. That's the word. Yep. Attachment.
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, it's just kind of just a slice of the pie of your life, right? It's not the pie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a slice of the pie of the world. I mean, I'm proud to be from Charlotte. Like, I'm so proud that I guess if you want my thoughts on the growth, like, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, it's great, but I think that it is good that people know the city, and hopefully like it'll draw more people. Like for me as an artist, I know other artists and people coming up after me who will be like me in the city. Hopefully there'll be more I guess apparatuses, or there'll be more of a entertainment industry here. I think that would be great. And maybe as the growth happens, that'll come. So like we'll just see what happens. My question is, God forbid industry leaves Charlotte, like what are we going to do with all the apartment buildings? What are they going to be? Like, you know what I mean? Like all these are like big buildings with like sectioned off rooms. So what will they be afterwards? But hopefully that'll be a long way down the line.
Dude, we'll make it into clubs, different clubs.
Shit, like every level a different man. Or if it gets really bad, like how New York was, like real talk, what if it becomes the hotbed for the next wave of culture? Because in New York, like you can see it in like different documentaries and stuff. Like a lot of that the underground culture, music culture was able to be facilitated because you had abandoned buildings. You know what I'm saying? And people could do stuff there. But anyway, I'm just rambling.
No, I get it. Well, no, that's what I say. Hey, this is what my show is. We ask a question and we go down this avenue and see what comes up. But I guess my other question off the top, obviously, you're an artist. So at what point, you said you were into rapping and stuff in high school. At what point did you like, connect with that? Or when did your journey start with that, with music?
I always liked music. Like ever since I mean, as early as like 5, I know that like so I can really like fully remember it kind of beginning when my school would have these events. It was like I forgot what they called it, but it was kind of like where people would dress up like the 60s or 50s, and it was elementary school, and they would play like oldies like Motown. It was kind of like a makeshift kind of sock hop thing, right? Or a recreation. And I just remember going to that, and the music that I heard just really kind of like sparked my interest. And then I guess I realized or found out that there was a radio station that played this music. So I was kind of like really like sucked into the 60s pop, R&B, rock and roll music. And that was just like my thing. And I think it was around that early age that I would like write my own songs like based off it like we would go to media play, and I remember I'd spend my allowance money on like songbooks, like the ones that would have like note tabs and stuff like that, and
Right.
then the lyrics. So it was like I would literally on like car rides and things like that. That was what I'd open up, and I'd just learn the words and sing the songs because I'd hear them on the radio. But like that was just my pastime and my passion, and I would write my own songs. And then I guess it was like around the time I was like 10 or 11, Eminem is out, and I kind of live in like the suburbs, so like I didn't really have a whole lot of. I knew about rap, and I knew like rap songs like that would come out, but I didn't have really anybody around me to be listening to it heavy or press it on me until like Eminem comes out. And then I've always kind of been like wanted to consider myself a badass or rebellious or whatever, thinking I'm tough, or that's all its own thing.
Mhm.
So I kind of connected to just the attitude that Eminem had or whatever. And then it was from there, it was just kind of rap. Like who's Dr. Dre, who's Snoop? I mean, this is like Ludacris was out, and just kind of getting into all of that. And then it started writing my own raps like in middle school. And I mean, I was always pretty good at it. And then I didn't mention like third grade, I was a poet. I started getting into poetry. So
Oh,
with all of that being said, like I've just always liked writing songs. And then by my last year, senior year of high school, that's when I met somebody who had a studio, and I kind of started learning what it is to record, write your own songs, put out your own project. And then kind of the rest is from there,
very
history.
cool. It sounds like it's in your blood.
Yeah. I love music, like shit, like talking about it, other like historian, like the history of music, just really like discussing and theorizing how music's changed and where things come from. Just I like that stuff.
Very cool. When I ask this of all sorts of writers, when you write music or poetry, is that something that like you sit down and you're like, I'm going to do this for an hour, or does it just come to you and you quickly jot it down? Like, how does that process work?
So like for me, I have to like it kind of just comes to me. Sometimes it like I'll be in a good mood, and I kind of have to have like somewhat of a clear mind. Not necessarily sober, but just kind of like not having like other forefront shit in my mind. And usually whenever it's like that, like that's how I know like the creative juices are flowing. Or like whenever I find myself just in the day to day, like singing a song, like that's how I know I don't have other shit on my mind, because that's where my mind's gonna go. Like things gonna remind me of a song, and then I'll just start coming up with shit. And then I'll do a voice memo, put it there, or I'll jot it down. And then later, when it comes time to shape the song, or if I want to develop something more, that's when I have to say, all right, for an hour, I'm gonna sit in front of like it's funny you asked that. I got right here. I got a voice memo, or like not a voice memo, but a little note saying, all right, yeah, like, oh, you can't see it this whole
Oh,
yeah, like
oh, but I did. I kind of see
yeah.
it. Yes, yes, yes.
So it's like 2 hours. I'm gotta write music and do other stuff. So yeah, that's a good question, but that's kind of how I do it. And I
Very
have
cool.
songs that I'll be writing for like that I started writing like 3 years ago. Just it's a fun process. It's the best part.
Oh, yes. I'm not definitely haven't really written a song, but I love to write. So I love asking that just because each time I've written something throughout the years, there's always a it never I don't know, there's just sometimes it just comes to me and I immediately have this mode to just get it out, and then other times I do have to kind of like schedule it like someone has given me like a deadline or something. So
Yeah, you got. I mean, shoot, you got to have discipline to make formation.
recently been telling guests this because I'm still trying to figure out what this means or if it connects or whatever. But so I see images. And so as I'm talking to you, and I know this might sound like a generic question, but do you have like a dog that like you were really close with that maybe passed or that's still around you?
I had a dog that passed when I was 10. That's the first dog to, no, not first dog, first person close to me to ever pass.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I know, like I said, that might be a generic question to say a dog, but I just connected to an animal. I don't.
You know, somebody told me that I looked like Anubis yesterday. And that's the dog face god of, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's something, maybe it is something, you know?
Or maybe it just means it like again, not sure how this comes across, or maybe just that, why also believe with like animals and people that have passed, like they're still around you. They're never like really just their physical vessel is gone.
Hmm.
So had to share that with you. But so obviously you dropped, and obviously I've done some research that you consider some of your music folk rap. So could you kind of like break that down?
Yeah, folk rap is music for people. And it's about like, it kind of is like my blanket word to categorize the music that I make, which is very, 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 very varied and eclectic. But the common thread is a general, you know, not really a very kind of accurate, casual representation of life and positive vibes and storytelling. So, like, the reason why, I mean, generally, I needed something to call my music, but the reason why I picked folk is because the storytelling aspect and like folk music, and the fact that my music connects with like all types of people. So, like, that's folk. You
Very
know what I mean?
good vibes. Good vibes. Now, because of the industry that you're in, obviously I've studied artists, very gifted. Do you find yourself, and again, I'm sure you could ask this of anybody, but do you feel like maybe people try to be around you or try to connect with you for like the wrong reasons?
Oh man. Well, I mean, shoot, like I feel like I've learned through through music a lot about real life in general that applies to real life. So I did learn that most people hang out with some, like most people, so we associate with people for like reasons. And so I would say yes. And that would just be like anybody. Like your mama hanging out with you because she popped you out.
I
You know,
mean,
like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
but I do also feel like, just to kind of go with where I think you're going. I mean, yeah, I think there's times where I've had like a larger buzz in maybe more specific areas of like the scene. And I think that I've experienced it times where you had like people there, or people in your corner, or people supporting, or people like around, that like if you kind of like make a different direction, or if you maybe if things aren't moving as hype as it was a year ago, you're like, okay, where were you? Or why can't I get that same kind of support from you there? But and at first it's something that you kind of like resent, you take personal, but then you learn like, well, I mean, it kind of is what it is. And it's not saying that, okay, we even need those people's approval, but part of why they were hanging out with me before was circumstantial because I was doing well. So it kind of allows you to appreciate and know, respect that fact. You know what I mean? Because hey, it's almost like if you want to get paid for a show, you're going to have people who want to come to your show. So you respect that fact. And then at the same time, you'll also be not more guarded, but you will allow yourself to not give so much faith or stock in expectations. That's the word that I'm getting at. You learn to limit your expectations of other people and things outside your control, but you do need those people. Like show business is so much a show. So people are pretty simple too. Like, so people are going to go, it could be an artist that they might like their music, but like a lot of people are not going to go something if a lot of other people aren't going to go. You know what I mean? So you're going to want to have people speaking highly of you and all of that. Yeah. So sometimes you do have to just put up with that shit. You know what I mean? But you know, you don't let that make or break you, because while you can be down or like, because I've had times where it's been like low moments for me as far as like things not really happening. And then you could just do some work, and then all of a sudden, all those same people that were gone are kind of like hitting you back up again, you know, and it's all good. It's charge it to the game.
That's right. Well, it sounds like you're very well aware of what's up, just from, I'm sure, trials and tribulations of, you know, crafting
Yeah.
the craft, right?
Yeah, man. I grew up spoiled like that. They didn't give me everything I wanted, but I never really even knew what it was like to have to like work hard at something that my parents couldn't like help me with, or that they didn't have like some whatever like game plan to tell me about. Like, so music really kind of like made me grow up, and I think I'm still growing up still. and
Yep.
I and I
Yep.
will never grow up to a certain degree. But yeah, like music really taught me a lot about just how to not feel sorry for yourself, or how to, you can't feel sorry for yourself, and you just kind of have to keep going. And it's hard. Like, it's just hard for, now I won't say hard, it's hard work for everybody who's involved in it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to love it if you really want to, if you really gonna survive. Because if you're only going off just getting some money, then you're gonna drop off and it's gonna frustrate you. Or you might get that and then you don't even appreciate it, or you know what I mean? And but if you love it, you cannot be getting money and still have like your soul fed and still, you know, make do. Um, and then possibly at some point hit it, you know what I'm saying, and make some money. It's like you keeping it open for yourself. So I respect anybody like out there, shit, at any level, because real talk, you could be big and still like it. Nobody, especially as an artist, nobody give a shit about you unless you've proven that you've made somebody else millions of dollars. They don't give a shit about you. That's cool, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I, that's why I have a lot of respect for any artists, actors, the talent, you know, in show business, you know.
True. True. Well, I appreciate you sharing. Shared the stage with Kendrick Lamar.
Yep, yeah, yep. Stared the stage with Kendrick Lamar, North Carolina Central University, their homecoming. That's my alma mater, so it was like a big thing for me. And meeting Kendrick was cool. Um, his set was good. I met his management and just kind of chopped it up with him for a bit, got a picture, and yeah, it was a good time. It was a nice experience and a nice thing to put on the old resume.
Absolutely. So I ask, obviously, artists this. I've asked some stand up comedians this. What happens when you are on stage or you are in front of a crowd? Do you leave your body? Do you focus on one person? How does that go down for you?
I kind of well, I like I guess when it comes to like okay, focus, I will start off by kind of just looking like I did So Far Sounds yesterday. And you know what? I'm pretty much in tune with the crowd and the audience. I kind of like start off talking to the audience and I just kind of like feel like it could be a lot of people, a few hundred people, but it feels like I'm like at a dinner party where I'm like, hey, y'all doing good? And like you, especially if they talk back to you, like that's fucking awesome. Um, and then just kind of like, I don't know, like for me, it's I always like acted out in front of the class. And to me, it's just that like I don't know if I necessarily go anywhere. I know for a lot of people, like it's a spiritual experience. And I've had moments like that, or more like, damn, how the fuck? Like, I know I can't have, don't have enough breath to do this, but I'm like doing this. Like, I'm coasting in this motherfucker, like singing and hitting a note, singing better than I did in rehearsal, shit like that. But like, I feel like that's just because that's like what I'm programmed to do. But as far as like while I'm out on stage, man, I just real talk, I just want to do the wildest shit that I can think of, you know, or I just want to do it. It's kind of like I want to do anything to get a rise out of the crowd, to be completely honest. Like, I'm not an attention whore, but I like to provoke. I love provoking. I love challenging shit. I love you know, not like making people feel uncomfortable. That's not it. But I just like like shaking shit up. I need some funkiness. So like whenever I'm on stage, like that's my time to just do what the fuck I want and try to like provoke the crowd, or you know what I'm saying, like really like catch their attention. Or if it's somebody who doesn't make, like who might not be into it or who might not be into that style of music, I'm gonna at least like fuck with them somehow. That
I feel
makes
you. Well, hey, that's an entertainer, baby, right?
yes. Or a troll.
But I mean, I think too, because I mean, yeah, you want to like, I get it. You want to like shake shit up. You want to like, people are looking at you. You know what I mean? You want to give them some kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So obviously, I'm assuming we're the same age range, give or take.
Yeah,
So
you had a Spice Girl CD
not on my wall, but I did.
on a
I did.
boombox in the
Yes,
boombox.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I ask guests this that fall into this category, or really whatever generation they come, fall into. So we're millennials.
Mm-hmm.
So any thoughts on like what you think that is or stereotypes you've heard?
Oh, you know what? I feel like, interestingly enough, I think that we're kind of like a forgotten, not forgotten, but like a very kind of like sandwiched. It's kind of like, I mean, I'll put it to you this way, like before Kobe Bryant passed away, it was for a long time, it was Michael Jordan and then Kobe Bryant was kind of talked about. And then like LeBron James comes and it's like, all right, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Like those are kind of like the two greatest of each generation. So I always kind of felt like interesting how like Kobe, as great as Kobe is, he's kind of like tucked away in a sense. And this is of course before he passed, because I felt his legacy, you know, was evolved, I guess, after that.
Mhm.
But I feel like our generation kind of is like that because we're not boomers. Um, and we kind of came along in the time where we were still using technology of boomers, like, you know what I'm saying, up until like I'm a formative teen, you know what I mean? You know, or, you know, the technology of the 20th century, TV, even when it comes to like stars and celebrities being not accessible, um, and then being like kind of like not forming ourselves during this new time where it's like, so take it for example, it's like you got boomers who already have like their lives or whatever established by a certain point.
Mhm.
And when this technology shift changes, or just when this whole kind of like paradigm shift changes, and then you have people who were born in like 2000, or people who were born in 2002 who are growing up in this and like who are totally connected. Like I, you know, they're like their celebrity, the people they remember are not Nickelodeon stars, it's YouTube people. You know what I mean? So I feel like for us, how I felt oftentimes is like a little bit kind of like lost, because it's like less than the boomers, I more have to engage into this new way of communicating. And as an artist, it's like it's even more important, right? And I think I see other peers of mine in music that might be like 10 years my junior, or like 5 years my junior. And it just kind of like clicks for them. You know what I mean? So like I do feel like that sometimes we're gonna be like, yo, how is our generation really gonna be defined? You know what I'm saying? What are people gonna, what did we really kind of like give or leave? You know what I mean? That's not eclipsed by this wave of internet, and then doesn't have, I guess, the whatever you call boomers tied to the World War II. It's just kind of cemented into this whole Americana. You know what I mean? So that's my spiel on being a millennial.
Well, no, I agree. Yeah, I think that that's my. But I think it's kind of cool that we're the last. We've seen what it's like to like experience youth before the internet, and then we've seen the after effects. So I think that that's kind of cool because I feel like we saw both.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, it allows us to see, kind of like see both sides, step in both. I mean, that's kind of what we do still. Like we're able to like step in and out of both worlds, you know?
And we'll wrap this baseball game up. But I always ask people, not always, but I do a lot.
Mm.
Going back to the unexplained, have you ever experienced like seeing a ghost or feeling a presence that was just unexplainable that you can share?
Yes. Um, so like there's ghosts that live in my parents' basement, and I know it, I feel them, and I never really was ever scared of them. But uh yeah, like I just know that they're there in the basement. So like whenever it's you're by yourself down there at night, like you don't feel alone. You like there's never a point where you like I'm alone. Like even when the whole house is empty and you're down there, you don't feel alone. And I think that I have a pretty good sense of that. Like I was afraid of the dark, quote unquote, for a long time. And I remember not being able to explain it, but like seeing people, or like, but knowing they weren't there. And I'm thinking back like to then, I'm wondering if I just kind of had more of a closeness to the other side, and just kind of like felt it and just didn't know, kind of like was afraid, you know what I mean? Um, so that's the experience I've had. Like, have you had any experience?
I have, but a lot of them have been through me dreaming. So that's hard to like more dissect like what that's about.
Mhm.
But I've started telling this. I have experienced like one like ghost in waking life, but it was weird because I had blocked it out for a while until honestly, like me doing these interviews, asking people,
Hmm.
um, it just came to me that I had blocked it out. So I guess that was like the weirdest thing is like, why did I block that out? Um, but I guess going back to like your parents' basement, like, did you like, do you get a vibe of if it's like children, like a children energy or a female energy or a male energy, or is it just like it's a presence?
I definitely felt like a lady energy. I felt like it was not a youthful woman, probably like middle-aged woman, kind of like maybe a mother or maybe just like a principal of some type, like a responsible but kind of like loving spirit, because there was never any moment where you felt like they were
Scared.
angry or yeah, scared, or um like like the spirit didn't want you there. You know what I mean? Like you'd hear like the bump, or like like you'd feel it, but you wouldn't get. You
No,
just
I
had this feeling that the presence there was a kind one and one
like
that wanted to coexist and not like run you out. You know what I mean?
that's awesome. I think that's awesome. I love, like I said, that's why I ask it because I love stuff like that. Have you ever done like a deep dive on like who lived in the house back in the day, or would you prefer not to?
Oh no, I wouldn't have a problem. The house was actually built, I guess built up when my parents moved in. So like it built on top of it, but I'd actually be interested. I've always kind of thought that whatever that land is on might have something, or something might have happened there. So yeah, I'll do some research, because I mean it would make sense, because the basement is slightly underground. So
There you
maybe
go.
might have been there back in the day, you know. Never
Very,
know.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Like I said, I will have to circle back around and find out if you found anything.
You have to have a show, actually. You got to have a TV show.
Dude, I always say from your mouth to God's ears, honey. I hope so. I hope that's what I'd like for it to turn into.
Yeah, you
So,
should.
um, um, but okay, so I know that you dropped, some musicians that really, you became big fans of, Eminem and, Dr. Dre. Is there a music video that really like either affected you or you were obsessed with or you just thought was so fun that you couldn't wait to see back in the day on MTV or VH1?
Oh yeah, I mean shit. Like now there's a lot of music videos that I really love. But I know there's this one um that I just kind of was obsessed with, or just really like, like when you're a kid and you're like, damn, I wish I had those clothes in that one, or whatever. Is It's Let's Get It. It's a P. Diddy song with Black Rob and G Dep, where they like, take this money, make this money. Ain't no way you can take this from me. And just it was a cool video, white backdrop. I like this was like when wearing like leather coats and like jean suits and like Timberlands and boots, and like it just you would have like you would have like the cap that would match the jacket, and then the jeans, and then it was just like all the outfits look good. And this was like around the time where like I was starting to get into wanting to wear like nice clothes and stuff. So I think that was a good video. And but real talk, like it's wild, just two videos like to that point. I go on YouTube and kind of just surf, and then it makes me realize, like, once I watch some of these videos, and these are like artists that I might have never even cared about or listened to later, but like I know all the words, like, and it's like so familiar, like I was just there. And the wild thing is, it's like, or it made me think of how much time I spent watching videos. Like coming home, I would watch Rap City and just watch videos. And I don't know, it's like, it's kind of crazy to think about it now, but Yeah, man, that was a good time, man. Damn, man, that shit. Like, I felt like that's not even a good. Like, there's so many good
No, no,
videos.
but like, there's no wrong answers. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
no wrong answers.
Bad Boy. What you call it? Bad Boy for Life was a good one.
Yes, when he's like on the roof in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and he's like, and then Ben Stiller comes in. Hey, P Diddy, Papa Diddy, Papa. Da, 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 da. That's a good one. Damn, so many good ones, man. Oh shit. You don't want no hey, there's this song by Lil Scrappy. You don't want no problems. You could get drunk in the club, roll with you. And it was like a playoff for Training Day. The video was good, but anyway, I know we wrapping up. Like so many good videos back in the day.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, I just obviously, I mean, who isn't a big fan of music, but love music videos just because it like you put it on or turn it on or put it on, your computer, look it up, whatever. It just, I don't know, it just brings you back to like these like it's almost like a yearbook. That's, you know what I mean? You open
Yes.
up and it just like brings you back to whatever moment you connected to it.
Yep.
But where can people find you on social media? Where can people find your music or anything?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at NIGEHOOD, Notch Hood. And you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music under the same name, NIGEHOOD. And I just dropped a project called Too Weird, Too Awesome. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, follow me on YouTube, subscribe to me on YouTube. And that's the same. It's NIGE space HOOD. You'll find me.
Yay, Nighthood in the house. Did you have fun? Did you have
Yeah, I
fun?
had a great time. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see you on the third. And yeah, man, to see what more is in store. And we can take that. You know what? If on a TV show, you have to have a segment where you visit haunted places or places where spirits are.
Connected. I mean, I would love to because I feel like obviously I think everything's a story. So to have like a spirit in some area, that is a story as well.
Mm.
So like I said, I appreciate you saying that. I am trying to manifest that. So, you know, maybe, hey, you guys, maybe we'll go check out the
My
house.
parents' basement.
Yeah, the place where the hoods live. So we'll see what's up. Who knows, right?
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I'll do my research and see what's going on over there before we got there.
I would love it. And I'll circle back around. But yes, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And like I said, looking forward to the third and we'll just attach our seatbelts and see what happens.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you
Um,
so much for having me. Continue killing it with the show.
thank you so much. Well, like
Yeah.
I said, props to you. I think artists of all kind are just magic. So props to you for all that you've done. And, can't wait to see, continue seeing what pops off with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, me too, man. Like it's a lifelong, it's a lifelong journey, or I won't say journey, it's just a
No,
lifelong,
it is though.
yeah, And I think that I'm excited to just can be able to do it and continue to grow and change and try new shit, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, CLT in the house too. CLT in the house.
DLT, so like I got it tatted.
What? Drum roll. Oh wow. Did that hurt?
Yeah. I mean, doing the shading or whatever, it hurt, but not too bad. Not too bad. The weird thing about tattoos, like they always say, is just like for me, it's just like that annoyance of like this needle tapping on this. I'm like, oh shit, it's
I
annoying.
know. I got a couple on my foot. I agree. It just, I don't know. At least with me, after a while though, you kind of just you go numb. But it's that noise that you're just like, and you can't
Yeah.
move, but it's all worth it in the end. So, all right. Well, I will stay in touch. Obviously, I'll see you shortly. And then
Thank you,
one more
Katie
time.
Black. You're amazing. Thank you,
I
love.
love your